I grew up in a home where survival meant reading the room before you could read a book, where your job wasn't to be a kid, it was to keep the peace, manage the chaos, and make sure everyone else was okay, even when you were 6 years old. This is the story of how I became a people pleaser and how it took me 20 plus years to realize what was actually happening. I grew up in a home touched by addiction and chaos. I won't go into all the details because that's not my story to tell. But what is my story is what it taught me about love, worth, and survival. When you grow up in that environment, you become a human mood detector. You learn to scan the room before you even walk in. You learn that your feelings aren't as important as keeping everyone else calm. There were rules in my house that were never spoken out loud. Don't make waves. Your job is to fix other people's problems. If you're upset, you're making things worse. Love means sacrificing yourself. I became the peacekeeper, the responsible one, the one who played parent to my own parents, and I thought that was normal. Fast forward to adulthood. I was the only one in my family who broke the cycle, the only one who didn't fall into the same patterns of addiction and chaos. I got a full-time job. I got a car. I chose healthier relationships. I thought I was free. But here's what I didn't realize. The people-pleasing pattern was everywhere. At work, I'd say yes to every extra project, every late night, every favor, terrified that if I said no, I'd be abandoned. In relationships, I'd change my opinions, my interests, my entire personality to match whoever I was dating. I'd scan their mood constantly. Are they happy with me? Am I doing it right? With friends, I'd drop everything to be there for them, but I'd never ask for help myself because I learned early my needs make things worse. I was still playing the same role I played as a kid. Different people, different setting, same pattern. The responsible one, the fixer, the one who makes everyone comfortable. And I was exhausted, but I didn't know why. And then one day, someone in my family said something that cracked everything open. They said I thought I was on my pedestal because I had a job, because I had boundaries, because I wasn't falling into the same patterns they were. In that moment, I felt shame, guilt, like maybe I was too much. Maybe I was arrogant for thinking I deserved better. But then something clicked. I started really listening to the things they'd say, the subtle put-downs, the ways they'd minimize my achievements, the guilt trips when I set boundaries. And I realized this wasn't about me being on a pedestal, this was projection. They weren't mad at what I was doing. They were uncomfortable with what they weren't doing. My stability, my growth, my boundaries, it held up a mirror they didn't want to look in. So they tried to make me the problem, to pull me back down, to keep me playing the role of the fixer, the people pleaser, the one who sacrifices herself. Because if I changed, they'd have to face themselves. That's when I started to wake up. I started seeing the conditioning for what it was. All those years of learning that my worth equals how useful I am. Love equals sacrificing myself. Saying no equals being selfish. My needs equals a burden. None of that was true. It was survival programming from a chaotic childhood. Here's what I wish someone had told 16-year-old me. You're being conditioned and you have permission to wake up. Loving yourself isn't selfish. It's the most radical thing you can do when you were taught your needs don't matter. The people who get mad when you set boundaries, they benefited from you having none. And here's the hardest part. You're going to feel guilty about changing. That guilt, that's the old programming trying to keep you small. It's the voice of everyone who wanted you manageable, accommodating, self-sacrificing. But on the other side of that guilt is freedom. Am I healed? No, I'm still learning. I still catch myself scanning the room. I still feel that pull to people please. I still have moments where the guilt shows up, but here's what's different. I notice it now. I can see the pattern while it's happening, and I can choose differently. I know now that the only person in this world who needs to be happy is me, and everyone else will either fall in line with that, or the universe will remove them. And I'm finally okay with that. I broke the generational curse of addiction, but the deeper work was breaking the curse of self-abandonment, of people-pleasing, of thinking my worth was tied to how much I could give. If you grew up in chaos with addiction, abuse, instability, whatever your version was, and you learned to make yourself small to survive, this is for you. You're not broken. You were adapting. You were surviving the best way you knew how. But you get to choose different now. You get to say no. You get to take up space. You get to prioritize yourself. You get to set boundaries. And the guilt you'll feel, that's just proof the old programming is losing its grip. If any part of this resonated with you, if you grew up walking on eggshells, playing parent to your parents, learning that your feelings were too much, I want you to know you're not alone. Drop in the comments, what's one way this pattern showed up for you? Let's normalize this conversation, because the more we talk about it, the less power it has.